be doing a language focus, and we're going to be talking about language that we can use to express our likes and our dislikes. Yeah. So I'm hoping there'll be some new vocabulary for you today, or a refresher, even if it's not brand new. So I want to talk about likes and dislikes because usually when people speak about things that they like and dislike, we usually end up using the same 4 verbs all the time, right? So we usually use love, like, don't mind, and hate. And there is so much more that we can use to talk about likes and dislikes than just limiting ourselves to these 4 verbs. If you are doing or planning to take an exam, an official language exam, like the first certificate or IELTS or the CAE, then this is actually quite important vocabulary for the exam. In the first part of the speaking test, you're very often asked about your personal interests or your hobbies. So this is language that you can bring in really well. And it's also language you can use if you're having to do any informal writing. So for example, an email or a letter to a friend. And it's just one that can come up very nicely in your speaking exam in general, okay, when you're expressing your own point of view or how you feel about things. So what I'd like you to do, I'm going to give you a minute or two to see how many ways you can think of expressing likes and dislikes, which are not those 4 verbs, okay? Something different from love, like, don't mind, and hate. Can you think of any other ways that we could express them? Let's have a look then. Here are some examples of ways that we could express them that I had. Yeah, it's not bad. I can't stand something. I don't mind. I'm crazy about. I think it's okay. I don't care. It's great. It's all right. I'm fond of. It's awful. It's not my cup of tea. I'm not convinced. I'm keen on. It gets on my nerves. It drives me crazy. I can't get enough of. It's right up my street. So this is just a quick selection. I didn't spend too long thinking about this list, right? So this is just to show you how many different ways we can talk about likes and dislikes. So we've got this beautiful collection of language that we can use, which I think you'll agree is so much more interesting than love, like, don't mind, and hate. Okay, we've got such a big selection. But we're now going to think about where we would put them on the scale. Okay, so I'm going to think about where on my scale here from 0 to 100. So 100% is I love it, 0% is I hate it. Where would we organize all of that language? And the other thing I want you to do is I want you to think about whether it needs to be followed by an object. Okay, so for example, that first one there, it's not bad. I don't need to follow with an object, okay, because I've got we're talking about this as the subject. But in the second example, I can't stand. I need to have something, right? I can't stand smoking. You're going to have 5 minutes to organize these in terms of where they would go and think about whether they need to be followed by an object or not, okay? We're going to have a look at the answers and think about the complementation. So the complementation means whether it needs an object, whether it needs to be followed with a certain preposition. These kind of little details are very important for Cambridge exams because they're the things that are usually tested in the use of English questions, okay? So not as important for IELTS, but it is important for your accuracy. Yeah. It doesn't usually, like these kind of complementation issues very rarely actually affect communicative functions. So it won't stop people understanding you, but for exam purposes, they are important. So we're going to have a look at the complementation. And I'll quickly just go through the meaning for you, and then we'll finish off today by trying them with a little bit of speaking practice. Okay. So if we think, first of all, about the ones which are expressing something we really love, the stronger ones up at the top, yeah, these are the ones what you've got. So I'm crazy about it. This needs to be followed with an object, okay? It's great. I always teach this word because it's something that I never hear my students use. And if you listen to sort of authentic language, we use this word all the time. We use the word great all the time. And it's an easy word to bring into your vocabulary, but it's just going to make your vocabulary more interesting. Okay, just watch out for the pronunciation, right? Great, not great, great. It's right up my street means it's totally to my taste, yeah, and my interests. So if something's right up my street, it suits me very well and it's my style. I can't get enough of it. I can't get enough of something means I always want more of it because I love it so much. Yeah. I'm keen on it. So if you're keen on something, you enjoy doing it a lot. Okay. And I'm fond of it is I enjoy it. When we use this to talk about people, like I'm really fond of my nephew, that means that I have a lot of affection for that person. So we also use it to talk about how we feel about people in terms of relationships. Okay. I would say the ones at the top are stronger than these ones here. Yeah. In our 50%, I've got it's not bad. Now, this is one of these expressions where your intonation matters. Yeah. Because if I eat something, if you cook for me and I eat it and I say, oh, it's not bad, what I mean is it's really good. But if you say, do you like it? And I go, it's not bad, I mean, it's like nothing special, right? So intonation will really affect the intensity of how we use that expression. Please be careful. When I was listening to everyone, people were getting confused with I don't mind and I don't care. Okay, these have quite a big difference in meaning. So I don't mind something, right? So I don't mind cooking tonight. Yeah, we can use I don't mind as a answer by itself as well. Like, what do you want for dinner? I don't mind. Okay. Now, if I say I don't mind, it means that I'm happy either way. So if you say, what would you like for dinner? Pizza or pasta? And I say, I don't mind. I'm going to be happy with whatever you choose. I shouldn't give examples about food so close to lunchtime. Sorry. But if I say, I don't care, that's going to have a much more negative implication. Yeah. So if I say, I don't care, it's like I have no emotional connection to that. If you say to me, Claire, I haven't done my homework, and I say, I don't care about your excuses, right? I'm not interested in that at all. Okay. So if you say to somebody, if somebody asks you, would you like to go for a drink? And you say, I don't mind. If you say, I don't care, it's going to give a very, very different message. Yeah. So watch out for that. I don't care is usually used by itself. But if you want to talk about the thing you're discussing, you need to use the preposition about. So I don't care about your problems, for example. Okay. And then it's all right, which is just another way to say it's okay, is very similar to it's not bad. All right. So my intonation will matter there. So if I say, well, it's all right, nothing special, but yeah, it's all right, actually, it's quite good. Okay. So intonation is really important in these. And then down here at the bottom, we've got I can't stand it, right? So you always need to say something like I can't stand kale, like the example I had before. Okay. I really hate it. Okay, awful is another one of these adjectives like great that I never hear students use, and they're really commonly used, and it's a lovely word, okay? I really enjoy saying that word. Try saying it to yourself. Awful. It's a nice word to say. Awful. Yeah. With these strong adjectives, when we're using strong adjectives, remember that your intonation needs to reflect the fact that they're strong. So it's not awful, it's awful. Okay. It's not my cup of tea is more or less the opposite of it's right up my street. So if I say it's not my cup of tea, it's not to my taste. Yeah. It's a nice way when someone says, oh, do you like my new dress? You can say, well, it's not really my cup of tea, but I'm glad you like it. Okay, I'm not convinced. We'll normally use this independently, like I don't care. But again, if you're going to say what, you need to use the preposition about. So I'm not convinced about your new haircut. Yeah, I don't know if it's a very good idea. If something gets on my nerves, it's really irritating. Okay, and annoying. Yeah, so if you think of like sounds like that, repeated sounds, stuff like that. Yeah, those are things that are irritating and get on your nerves. And finally, it drives me crazy means it makes me really angry or gets me really irritated. So it's different from being crazy about something. Okay, so these are similar, but they are different. An important thing to remember, when a verb functions as a noun, do you remember what we have to do to the verb? How do we form the verb? So would I say I am crazy about swim or to swim, or I'm crazy about swimming? Which is correct? So I need to say swimming, okay? Because when the verb functions as a noun, we need to use the gerund, okay? So please remember that, especially if you have a Latin-based language, because most Latin-based languages, like in Italian or Spanish or French, you do the exact opposite. You use the infinitive, and it's a really common error. So when all of those examples that we saw before that were followed with objects, all of those would take gerunds, yeah, because we're talking about an activity. So what we're going to do to finish with, we're going to do a little bit of speaking practice. So I want you to express how you feel about these different things. So for example, getting your hair cut, yeah. I'm really keen on getting my hair cut. I love going to the hairdresser because it's like a little bit of luxury in my day. What I want you to do is make sure you use some of the language that we've talked about today. A little exercise that I can suggest doing is with that list that I gave you of the different things, how you feel about them, like doing your shopping and so on. Write a sentence for each one using some of the language that we've talked about today. And also try and focus on maybe 4 or 5 expressions which you like and are easy to remember. And those are the ones that you want to try and bring into your speaking. Okay, I don't suggest that anyone learns 25 expressions, but there's a selection there for you to choose the ones which you will remember best and which you like, and they're the good ones to try and use and bring into your language. Okay, so make it a little language focus for yourself this week. When you get new vocabulary, it's quite nice to set yourself the challenge of trying to incorporate that new vocabulary into either your speaking or your writing, over the week.